This is a video that pains me to make because I knew eventually I would have to make it. I just didn't think it was going to come this soon. My entire investing journey, I've been able to ride these highs of momentum and watching prices go up to a tune like we've never seen before here in America. And as nice as it is to say that I saw all of these excellent gains and no matter what I put my money in, it seemed to just go up, I also knew that eventually these things would have to come to an end. And like everybody, I was hoping that they wouldn't come to an end as soon as they did. But unfortunately, that's what's happening. And what we just saw with the 0.5% interest rate hike is something that has triggered our worst fears, which is that a recession has started. And everything now across the board that used to be up is now on a downtrend, and it doesn't seem like it's going to stop anytime soon until we get this inflation under control, we get these housing prices under control, and we get these interest rates under control. But does that mean that you should stop investing in the meantime? And that's what I want to talk about in today's video. And if you are new to this channel is based on finance news. It's based on some tips, tricks, and strategies, and it's about the ultimate journey to get wherever you want to be financially. So if this is information that does appeal to you and you find value in it, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications, because I am always dropping a video a week and at least a YouTube short once a day to keep you up to date with the latest finance news to help you become a more savvy investor. But without further stalling, let's go ahead and get into today's video. So I started my investing journey back in 2019, late 2019. And at the time, I didn't know anything about investing at all. I just knew that if I wanted to get where I wanted to go financially, I was going to have to change some things in my daily routine, but more specifically, how I was spending money. I would have to turn that into something where I was saving more money, but ultimately having my money work for me. And at those times, when I started throwing my money into the stock market, it seemed like I could do no wrong. I knew that the stocks that had just ultimately taken a beating because of the pandemic that had just started, I knew that they were going to have to go back to the levels they were at before the pandemic started. So no matter what I threw my money into, whether it was travel, whether it was oil, whether it was Tesla, whether it was any tech stocks, I knew right away that I was going to see success in my investing journey. And what was interesting was it didn't matter what I threw this money into. I just knew that I was going to continue to earn money because of where the levels were at prior to me getting involved in the stock market. But I also knew that eventually these gains that I was seeing, these 20, 30, 40, 50% gains, and sometimes even more, I knew that they couldn't continue. I knew that eventually there was going to be a point when this market was going to have to reset itself, because everything that we were seeing, prices were way higher than we've ever seen before. Stock valuations were higher than we've ever seen before. And the interest rates were at an all-time low, triggering even more buying and spending from the everyday consumer. But again, like everybody else, I didn't want to face the reality that this could potentially happen. And now being in the real estate industry, I got to see a little bit more in depth how the real estate market was becoming this giant bubble of people buying and selling houses, of refinances becoming commonplace in today's society, but more specifically how people were taking equity out of their home and how that only led to a further spiral into people borrowing more money, but also spending more money, therefore hyperinflating the economy even more. But seeing this bubble, it led me to even more excitement. It led me to a spot where I was truly believing that this bubble, although yes, eventually it will burst, I don't see it bursting anytime soon. And now that I've seen firsthand what a interest rate hike of 0.5% has done to not only the stock market and crypto market, but also the real estate market, this is a sign to me that our recession may have just officially started. And then that got me thinking, if a recession has started, how can I switch up my strategy to keep investing and keep having my money work for me, but also realizing that a recession is part of the process of investing and understanding that you will experience times like this. And so as much as I would like to tell you that investing in real estate or investing in the stock market or cryptocurrency is an easy task and it's something that you can make a lot of money in and you're only going to experience the highs of it, I'd be lying to you. Because in investing, you're gonna go through ebb and flow like anything else. And unfortunately, you don't want the bad times to come, but when they do come, they humble you because they help you learn a lesson that maybe you didn't learn before. But that doesn't mean that you should completely cut off your investing altogether. What that truly means is that now is the time to really cut back on a lot of that spending that you do, but also realizing that there's a lot of opportunities in investing as well if you educate yourself and you understand the good in what happens when a recession comes, because a lot of times there are more positives than people think when these recessions hit. And so investing for me is going to look the same way it's looked over the past 6 months. See, I've been preparing for this recession since the beginning of the new year, because with all the information I was being given with the real estate market, with the crypto market, and the fact that my stock portfolio really hasn't done too much since the beginning of the year, I've been preparing for moments like this, and I've been realizing that it was going to come. And how I've prepared is to have that nest egg of money ready to deploy for when all of these stock prices ultimately bottom out. And unfortunately, I don't think that we've seen the bottom yet. I think that what was just triggered is only just the beginning of it. And knowing what I know about the interest rates and knowing that there's a potential of them potentially raising the interest rates 5 more times over the next 6 months should ultimately be a word to the wise that we'll probably end up seeing these stocks continue to go down even further. So having that nest egg ready to deploy is going to be essential for you to ultimately build more wealth for yourself as we move through this time. But it's not just about cutting back and having a nest egg. I'm also still dollar cost averaging. And I think dollar cost averaging is one of the things that I picked up from Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett, is that even during times of economic crisis, you never want to stop investing altogether. Rather, what you want to do is divide up how much you would normally spend on your investing and put it into either a per day investment plan, a per week investment plan, or a per month investment plan. But rather than dropping a lump sum of money into an asset like cryptocurrency or like real estate with potential of it continuing to go down and you having to recover from these 20, 30, 40, 50% losses, you're now just putting small amounts in all the time. So you're not having to recover to get back to where you were when you first started. So this strategy may sound really boring to you. And unfortunately, there's not a lot that I can create as far as excitement is concerned for investing right now, because this is part of the investing journey. And what's important to understand about it is you have to be tough during economic times like this, because most people are pulling their money out of their investments and they're hoarding their cash. And what they're not understanding is that that money is no longer making them money. So they're not going to experience that long-term game that they would see if they just left their money be. And ultimately, they're not continuously buying for as these assets to continue to decline in price, therefore seeing big upside potential when the market does recover, because ultimately the market will recover. And when it does recover, we're going to see prices like we've never seen before, higher than what we saw in 2019 and 2020. But this is just my financial plan. You have to create your own for yourself based on where you are in your life. Maybe you can't do a dollar cost average. Maybe you do have to hoard your cash. Maybe you do have to cut back your spending. Maybe you do have to pull from your retirement to weather the storm, but understand that the finance world and the journey to get where you want to go is all about you. It's not about anybody else. So during times like this, it's important for you to stay tough and have a plan, because it's that plan that you create and the one that you stick to that will ultimately get you where you want to be financially. So I wanted to share that with you, because as much as we would all like to say that investing is lollipops and gumdrops and you're only gonna see the highs of investing, it's also humbling to see the lows as well, because this gives you a point where you can get a little bit more intimate with your finances, understanding where you should be looking at for cutting back your spending, where you should ultimately be looking at for maybe saving more money and paying off debt during this time, or ultimately just building that bag ready to deploy for when these stocks ultimately hit their bottoms. But again, all of this information is for you to do with what you will and build a plan that's going to get you where you want to go financially. So if you did get value out of this video and you do find value in finance videos from a news standpoint, from an investing standpoint, and ultimately just becoming more conscious financially, this is definitely the channel for you. So make sure that you smash that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.